Volunteering to be a safety officer is both rewarding and fulfilling. However, being in charge of the whole match can lead one to another sport. Welcome to Match Directing and Season 2 of Can We Chat? This podcast was made possible by our sponsors, FT3, Orange County's premier indoor shooting range, and Pinnacle Firearms Training, CCW, Fundamentals, and Advanced Gun Handling. Live defensively minded. What is going on? My name is Paul G., Chief Safety Officer for the IDPA. This channel will help you clarify IDPA rules, shooting techniques, and inform you of the newest gear and what's going on in the shooting community. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Please welcome back to the podcast a fellow YouTuber and master shooter now, Bryan Phares. Very nice to see you guys.
Well, good to see you.
Thank you very much for taking the time.
Of course, of course.
You had an extreme day today.
Yeah.
The staff shoots seem to have gone pretty flawlessly, don't you think?
Yeah, they went pretty good. We had to make a small change after a squad and a half shot one of the stages. So we being my squad, that was our first stage. So we had to reshoot that at the end of the day, and then being one of the assistant match directors and the gentleman who put the match book together and also didn't design all the stages but put them together in the software for the match book. I was at the range till about 8:30.
Oh man! So there was a lot of changes in the match book itself.
Yeah. I've pretty much had to update the match book every single day.
Right.
And again, we made minor changes to some of the stages, but a lot of it was, punctuation, changing, standing in box to starting on stick, things where, hardcover wasn't wrapped in black plastic, it was painted black, so I had to remove that. Just minor little details.
Like house cleaning things, but this happens all the time to all types of matches, right? So
yeah, I mean pretty much every major that I go to, I shoot about 7 or 8 majors a year. Sometimes they don't release the match book until it's done.
Yeah.
Which is like Thursday, Friday.
Right.
And sometimes they'll release the match book and then they'll email the shooters that, hey, we've made updates. The stages are out, and it's Friday at 9 o'clock, and I shoot the next morning.
Oh man! So staff shoots are over, and now we this is day one for the general public.
Yeah.
And boy, what a day! It was a awful long day.
Yeah.
So you had combinations of people shooting half days and then whole days, right?
Yeah. So I was in charge. Me and Phil Zidek, who are both assistant match directors.
Okay.
We were put in charge of what's called Range 2 here at our home range, Sac Valley Shooting Center,
Right.
Which is on the other side of the property. And we started out with 3 squads, and those were the all-day squads. So
who does that?
You mean who chooses to shoot all day? People that can't get time off of work, maybe.
Okay.
People that are training, like I'm not necessarily opposed to it, depending on who I'm shooting with, right? Who you choose to squad with is a big part of this.
Right.
But it's like, if I was not staff for this, I would probably have chosen to shoot it all day.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You would go for one dare?
Yeah.
I did that a couple times for like RMR or Nationals, and let me tell you, that was an awful lot.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I would choose to do that, is because, this match is at the beginning of May, the time we're filming this, when the match is. It's the first weekend in May, which is my club's same weekend every month. And but it's good training for RMR, which is just in 3 weeks.
Yes, it is.
Because if you guys don't know, RMR is actually RMR and Colorado State, and it's now called Third Rock Regional, and so it's 2 Tier 4s Saturday and 1 again on Sunday.
Right.
So it's basically this match one day, and then this match again the next day, but a whole different match.
Right.
So that's really good training for stamina, physical and mental. And it's hot here in Sacramento. So we had nice weather today, but it's hot.
Yeah.
So it's weather tempering for long days at RMR.
Right. So you were so today. Well, actually, yesterday was the final day to actually try to work out bugs.
Yep.
Right. Did you achieve that today, or did you?
Yeah.
Still have some
I mean,
issues,
I think we put together some challenging stages for this match.
Which you did. Extremely challenging, which I'm going to get to in just a sec.
Yeah,
but
but we're very fortunate that we have multiple clubs here at this range. We are Sacramento Defensive Pistol Shooters is the only IDPA club at this range, but there are 3 other USPSA clubs, and everybody works together. We have utilized, I think, every piece of functional prop and steel at this range.
Wow. Yeah. And you can see that on the bays.
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed. The stages, the stage designs. Was that a child of yours, or
to be honest, I only designed one stage, and it made it in the match. It's stage 7, which is the one where you're sitting at the prop car.
Okay. Yes.
That was the only one I designed.
Shoot it through the window.
Correct. Oh. You didn't have to shoot through the window. It didn't say you had to. It just said shots while seated. So if you picked up on that, good on you. If not,
yes,
learning experience for next time. Pay attention. Words mean things.
Yes, that was even actually a question to the SO, and they said nope, it has to be through the window. And I said okay. So
maybe a training experience,
yes,
or a training opportunity,
which
for
is
those
okay.
SOs.
I just don't like to be used at my expense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like for me, I shot everything through the window.
Yeah.
Shooting outside the window,
it probably was the target on the right.
It was the target on the right, and arguably, it actually probably gave you a harder shot because
I would have to agree.
That was a diagonal half hardcover, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So by angling out even further, you're eliminating more of the scoreable area that's available.
And I think if you shot through the window, it would saved the A pillar, right?
Yeah, and it opens up more of that score zone, right?
Yeah,
so it makes
I was like,
easier to hit the target.
So that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But the warm up.
Yes,
that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
6 reload 6, right?
Yeah, downloaded 6.
To how far was that?
The first target was 7 yards.
7 yards, and
it was a half hardcover with a non-threat angled in front of it,
which I didn't appreciate. Thank you very much.
Me neither. Trust me, me neither. And then the far target was 25.
Okay. Yeah, that was.
It was 20 or 25.
Yeah, early in the morning, I sat there and I'm like, dude, I can't even see that.
Yeah.
Because the shadow was on it, I'm like, oh man,
I mean, thankfully the sun was at our backs mostly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it was downloaded 6, 6 on each target, and it's limited. And to make those far shots that early in the morning, I honestly can't even remember how I did.
You had a few of them that were far. 2.3 on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. Which was
that was our standard. Yeah, Wasteland standards.
That was insane. You had everything in it. You had, well, I wouldn't say it was memory, but I mean, you had to remember that it was left-handed.
Yeah.
First of all,
support hand only for the first 2 targets.
With a non-threat.
Yep. And it was 3 shots each.
3 shots each. Then you had to switch, and then you had to remember that it was 3 shots each for the rest of them, right? And they started getting out in distance.
30 yards.
Plus, you had, priorities.
Yeah.
Right?
There was 5 levels of priority on that stage.
That was everything that you could throw at somebody, and we're not even talking about the non-threats.
Well, I hit it twice, so. Oh. Yeah, I hit that guy twice. I had a couple points down on some other targets, and then the back 2. The far right one, I was down, I think 8, because I had a mic and a 3, and then the left back one, which was the priority just before that, I had 3 down in the 1, down low in the gut.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Support hand.
No, that was the freestyle part of it. Yeah.
When you got out.
Yeah. So the first target I was 0. The second target I was 0, but I had 2 hits in the non-threat.
But you're shooting CCP.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm really struggling with the shorter sight radius. At least on farther targets.
Coming from carry optics, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What made you think of that?
Think of what?
Going to CCP.
Oh, why did I do CCP? Okay, so if I'm being honest, early on, I've been shooting for roughly 3 years now. Yeah. I mean, I shot a long time ago, but I had like over a decade gap.
Yes, I remember.
Immediately went to carry optics from the beginning. Okay. Right. Shot the Western 2 years ago. That was my first major. Went in thinking I was, hot stuff, and did terribly.
But you were hot stuff.
Well, not then.
Okay, all right.
It was very humbling. Yeah. It was a learning experience. Right. It really dialed me in, and that's actually when I started meeting my teammates.
And you have a great bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody says, bump everything to, sharpshooter, do all the divisions in sharpshooter, and then bump everything to expert, and then bump everything to master. Well, I just kept in carry optics and went for master.
Right.
Didn't care what it did for other divisions. And then when I did my master bump in Vegas 2 years ago, I was like, okay, it's time to do another division. And I went and I was like, okay, well, let's do, I don't know, I don't remember what sequence I did, but I eventually, at like summertime last year, started shooting CDP.
Yeah.
And then I got a bump in that actually January of this year.
Yes.
So then that's my second master division.
In CDP.
CDP.
Which is the Canon.
Yeah, I got a really, really good deal on a Kimber, 5-inch Kimber.
No, 45.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and it's basically not even a Kimber anymore. And I didn't even use my gun to get a bump because the match the weekend before it broke.
You're kidding me.
So I had to use my teammate Tony's gun, which was a old Kimber from like the 80s when they were still a nice gun.
Yeah, but he sets it up like a race gun all the time.
Well, honestly, if I'm being honest, Tony, don't take offense. My gun shoots better.
No, stop.
But his gun works, and mine didn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Tony, can I borrow your gun?
Yeah.
And, we traveled together, so he just brought the gun with him, and it felt the same. I put my grips on it because my grips have the silicone carbide on it.
Right.
He's got the gangster, like, real bone grips. But it's, it's got the old patina. It's kind of like a pewter color because it's all just worn off. But it works. It just worked.
Reliability will beat fast race guns.
And I knew that my ammo would work in it because when I first started shooting CDP, I didn't have my reloading stuff for 45 yet. So I said, Tony, can I buy some of your reloads to use at a match that he was going to be at? And we didn't even think to check his ammo in my barrel in the Kimber. And first stage, just not in battery. And then I cut my hand trying to get it out of battery.
Oh, no.
And it was so stuck that when I finally, grabbed the slide and jammed my hand into the back of the grip, the case came out with all the powder because the bullet was stuck in the lands and grooves.
Oh, okay.
And then so it's like, okay, your bullets are too long with the ogive shape.
I shoot a STI. They have to be excessively long.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so some guns are very finicky.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when I borrowed his gun, I knew my ammo would work because I had to run them shorter to work in my gun because it had a tighter chamber than his did. So I knew they would work in his gun.
Okay.
I might lose some, feet per second or something. Verified that it made power factor, everything. So we went to Phoenix. I had a really good match. Took first in the main
congratulations.
expert. Yeah, and got my master bump.
There you go.
There was just enough people for me to get a bump. And then I decided I'm gonna go through the other divisions and get master bumps and everything. And CCP was the next one.
That aligns you to a lot of stuff. There's Sheepdog at the end of the year.
I know, and I apologize, Ben. I know I talked to you at Nationals. I wanted to go. It's just sometimes work gets in the way.
Well, you had a match to worry about.
Yeah.
So, if you mind, we talk about rules.
Of course.
So
I'll do my best.
Okay. There's stage 8.4, which is right here in Cowboy Town.
Okay. Remind me what stage that
it's
is.
the sled, right? So you shoot a reactive target.
Oh, the Z runners with the.
Yep. Bang, and then you have this thing that's hauling ass right in front of you.
Yep.
So they had so there's a call regarding reactive targets, right?
Yep.
Priorities. And I was wondering if you can kind of brush up on that. I had a teammate that I brought to you for you to further educate him with that.
Yes,
and thank you so much for that.
Of course.
He sat there and goes, "Oh yeah, it's totally clear now." So I was wondering if you can share exactly what reactive targets and the priorities are for a reactive target would be.
Yeah. So in this particular scenario, you start in front of a wall. And then when you have finished whatever you're doing at the SP, I think there's like one open target from the SP.
Yes, so you have the reactive target, look through a window, and then you have a static target just sitting there.
Yeah, so from the start, there's that headshot just to the left, right?
Yes.
And then as you move to the right, you expose yourself to an open steel activator
as you come across
that's down at the end of the hallway.
Yes.
So you move up to the 10-yard line, which is also the fault line for that window where those targets are at. You have to engage the open target first, and then when you swing in, you've got a static, but you have the running target that's coming in front of you.
Yes.
With the clarification from headquarters on reactive targets and how they're set up with tactical priority, we determined with our state coordinator / acting area coordinator that you had to shoot the activator and then wait for the activated target before engaging the static target.
Which sometimes doesn't make sense, but if you're looking at priority and a fault line,
Yep.
yeah, things start to change.
Yeah, and I know that this is a topic of hot contention right now.
Oh yes, yes. And that's why we're talking.
The simple fact of the matter is that whether you agree with it or not, HQ did make a ruling.
Yes.
It's their interpretation of their rules, right? So they know their intent with how the rules are laid out.
Yes.
Whether you agree with it or not. And at the end of the day, I've been to matches. I'm not going to say which match, but even after that ruling has been made, that they're not adhering to that. But the important thing for you guys is when you go to majors, if you have a question about a rule, whether you agree with it or not, ask the SO running that stage.
That's right.
Will I receive a PE if I do XYZ? If there's a shooting position involved, stand exactly where you want to be when you do what you're asking.
Yeah.
And say, will I receive a PE if I do XYZ while standing from or shooting from here?
Well done.
Now, the key thing is that it's meant to be fair. So whether the rule is being applied incorrectly or correctly, as long as everybody is having the rule applied the same, it's at least fair for that match.
Okay.
And that's the way I explained it to your teammate.
And for some reason or another, because he started at 1, which was the SO that was working it.
Yep.
He came to me. I explained it to him again, and he goes, "Yeah, not yet." I'm like, "Okay." So then I brought him to you, right? You explained it to him, and he goes, "Nope, I can stop right here."
Yeah.
And I went, "Okay, I'm dying to hear what he had to say."
Yeah, basically I told him that I told him my experience, that I've been to matches where they're not applying the rule correctly according to HQ.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Whether, as long as they're applying that rule the same to each competitor and giving all the competitors the same way of shooting a stage. Now,
opportunity.
They're not going to call it out, right? Because they can't coach.
Right.
But if somebody asks, if they go to a match and that match is applying the rule incorrectly, and they're saying, yes, you can take the static before the activated target, at least everybody has the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Right? So it's fair.
But it has to be known.
But it has to be known, right?
Yeah.
But if you're on a squad, as long as you're not on a squad with a bunch of people who it's their first match, somebody's going to ask. And as long as you're not off having a sidebar conversation or whatever, as long as you're involved with your squad, you're going to hear that. And it's going to send the light off and be like, oh, can I do that?
Yeah.
And if you're quick enough, you can.
Okay.
Which is why, well, I'll just stop there.
Okay. Yeah. So the next subject is stages that reliability.
Yes.
Right. So you have a lot of stuff that we're moving and shaking and pulling, pushing and so forth. I was just wondering, how did the stage hold up since the staff shot it?
That one in particular?
Well, no, actually, yeah, I heard there were some issues with that one.
Yeah.
There was some issues with the one that I'm at.
Which one?
The one that had a pressure pedal on it.
Oh, the pedal that you step off?
Yes, and the pedal was, I'd have to say, 55% of the time.
Yeah, I heard it was not lubed properly.
Yeah, well, actually, I was one of the fatalities for it, right? So I was sitting there, and I tried it once, shot 2 times, and nothing. I had to get off, get more ammo, got it back up, shot 2 times, nothing, right? So that happened 3 times to me, right? And then the third time, by the time I was so flustered, right? Now my things, instead of me shooting 2 times at the first static or target, I reacted to targets. Now I have reacting targets coming out from everywhere, and now I'm all over the place.
This is the one with the 2 drop turners.
2 drop turners simultaneously,
right
yes.
Yeah, and they literally activate simultaneously. There's no offset or delay or anything.
I had
so you only get the one presentation on the second one.
Oh man, yeah. And then I guess I could have ran around the corner and stuff. But
is that really saving you any time? I guess if you have a 10 on it, it would probably save
10
you
seconds
time.
maybe, yeah. But I was a little disappointed on that. I couldn't gather my thoughts fast enough. But I'm wondering, how do you deal with reactor targets that are consistency as far as the stage props are concerned?
So I'll start with giving shooters advice on this, right? Based on what you just described, it sounds like you tried to shoot almost immediately after the failure, or maybe a shooter later.
Well, the first 2 times I shot, and then I backed off. I let another shooter come in, and I thought I was well enough, but by the time I get in, my stage plan was gone.
Yeah.
So I did give myself a time, but I don't think I gave myself enough time. Yeah.
Okay.
So
now, were you like last shooter, or was it early on, middle?
it was about middle.
Okay. Yeah. So for those of you that don't shoot a lot, or maybe you're new to this, or looking to get into it, we as the match staff, particularly the match director and the assistant match directors, we're in the entertainment business. Okay? So we are here to try and provide the best possible experience for the shooters.
Right.
Because we want people to come back, and we want people to go to other matches. I love talking to people. I think you know that.
I know you do. Which will be our next point.
I tell everybody, like, you have to check out RMR. You have to check out Washington State.
Right.
You need to go to Vegas if they put a match on. You've got to go to Utah. You have to go to Idaho. You have to go to New Mexico. Because all these places put on such fantastic matches.
And when you say fantastic, you're talking stages?
It's stages, it's the staff, it's the area, it's traveling with my friends, it's going out to eat good food.
No, I see you everywhere.
It's kind of a vacation, and
with your buddies.
With my friends.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate and unfortunate. I'm single. I don't have any kids.
Yeah.
I work for myself, and the fact that I get to do that, I'm super blessed to be able to do it, and I look forward to matches where I get to travel with my friends and shoot these matches. And yeah, it's frustrating sometimes, right? Like, I don't always shoot the best that I know I can do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I've really been struggling with the shorter sight radius of the 19. But at the end of the day, even if I have a terrible match, I look back at it and I look at the memories of mostly the drive to and from the match, because we drive to most of these matches, and there's 3 or 4 of us in the car, and I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out, not by name, but we have a mascot called Kwee, which is one of those...
Oh, I seen it.
Which is one of those snappy sharks that's on a stick with the trigger thing. And I'll be driving, and somebody will feed me a snack using that. We've got those, like, slappy, like, hands that you stretch out. You get out of the quarter vending machine. Right. It's come down to the fact that we all have range mascots that are the Beanie Baby stuffies.
Right.
I bought Tony one at an airport in New Mexico year before last. Mm-hmm. My other teammate, she had made mention that we were trying to get her to do something, and she had made mention that if we bought her a snow leopard, that she would do it. So I was trying not to use her name.
So I used it.
But
so you didn't use it.
I'm good. I didn't say it.
That's right.
But
blame me.
So I immediately went on Amazon and bought a little snow leopard stuffy and was like, "Hey, here, I bought you a snow leopard." And she's like, "Gosh, dang it."
I didn't really get to see her actually shoot until today.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that was entertaining.
Yeah.
She was solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah. I apologize. I'm going to spill the beans here a little bit, but she is just like the rest of us in that we're our biggest critic.
I totally see
that. She beats up on herself a lot.
Yeah.
It's the mental game.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
We're always telling her how good she's doing, because she's truly doing good. We're literally not just blowing her skirt up.
Absolutely.
Pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she is such a phenomenal shooter and like a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. And her progress since her and I have started shooting together, and all of our progress. Right. Actually, this memory came up the other day. We were shooting a match in Gridley, which is about an hour and a half north of here. And probably a year and a half ago, Charlie, who's the MD up there, pulls Shay aside and be like, "What have you been doing to get to where you're at?" Because her progression is like a sliding scale.
Yeah.
It's just infinitely going up. and she's continuing on that track. But as you know, when you get to that upper tier of competition, you're not making those major multiple second gains on stages. It's microseconds.
Yes, you have to go 10 miles to get like 1 inch.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
that's where really all 4 of us on the team. Well, there's actually 5 of us on the team, but the 4 that shoot together the most. That's kind of where we're all at.
Yeah.
Because Tony changes divisions like he changes his underwear. I'm not much better when it comes to that, but I at least stick with one division and one gun until I reach my goal. She does kind of the same thing, but she has a goal in mind. And then Alex switched to PCC last year, and he was total rookie with shooting a rifle.
No, I got to see it.
And now
Washington.
He's killing it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's still a sharpshooter, but he's making his way up the ranks.
Okay, I beg to differ.
I beg to differ too.
I think he's much better than that.
But he did qualify with he did the proper qualification because I did run him through the 5x5 myself.
I love that kid.
And Alex, we call him our goldfish.
Why?
I'm sorry, Alex. But he's got a really bad memory.
Oh god.
So the joke is we'll tell him something, and then in the middle of the conversation he'll ask us the same question again, and it's like, "Gee, this is a nice bowl," and then 5 minutes later, "Gee, this is a nice bowl."
You know what? You guys are just that's what teammates are for. Right?
Yeah, I mean, my whole philosophy. I learned this a long time ago because I used to play paintball in the upper divisions, and I learned a long time ago that if somebody's my true friends, if they're not giving me a hard time, that means that there's a problem. They don't like me.
It's a sign of affection.
Yeah, so if I'm not giving you a hard time, it's because I probably don't like you that much.
Right. And Alex, every time I see him, I stop what I do just to go over there and bust his balls.
Yeah, and there's times where, because we shoot together so much, it's like a little family. Yeah. And so
absolutely.
There are times when, like, even recently, like, I snapped at Shay for something, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad, and she was visibly mad at me.
Yeah.
And I apologized. I tried to be, like, as sincere as possible when I apologized to her.
Sure.
And she was upset, I think, for probably a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then, she got over it, and we moved on. But, like, even Alex, like, we're talking about Alex, so I come at him hard sometimes. And a lot of it is because I'm frustrated that he doesn't remember that I told him something.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, yes and no. But, like, I'll tell him something, and then, like, a little while later, he'll forget, and it's frustrating, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever dealt with elderly parents or elderly people where it's like, I told you I'm doing this on this date,
right?
But they don't remember, right? But that's because it's not necessarily important to them. It's important to me, so I expect them to remember.
Okay, I see your point.
Right?
Yeah.
But with Alex, like, part of the goldfish thing, it's what's endearing about him.
Well,
it's because of the short memory.
Absolutely. It's probably his way of dealing with stress and just let it roll off you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like, oh, okay.
Some of us are high strung, right?
Yeah.
And we're type A personalities. We have to have a schedule. And if we're not, man, hell breaks out loose, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like even yesterday, he was, he's staffed for this match. As an assistant match director, I had been called to like 3 different things.
Yeah.
And so I just told my squad to move on, and I would shoot when I could. And he was trying to help me with something, and I kind of snapped at him.
Yeah.
And later on that day, I was like, hey, what's going on, and this and that, and like, I didn't necessarily apologize, and I probably should, but it's like it never even happened.
Yeah, but you're in charge of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you try to compete as well.
Yeah.
Does that work out for you?
Not always.
Yeah. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I see it more now. Well, it's because I'm taking on a lot more responsibility and so forth. And for you to be an assistant match director, what are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen you as an assistant match director. You just blew up in the rankings now. You're a CSO.
Yep.
Right?
I became a CSO after RMR last year.
Now you're an AMD.
Well, I'm an MD too.
Oh, you're a match director as well.
I started I took over just up the hill, El Dorado Gun Club.
Oh, congratulations.
So about 20 minutes up the hill. Yeah. A gentleman named Alec Labonte has been running an IDPA shoot there for, I think, 15 years.
So,
but they were never an official club.
Okay.
So he wanted to stop and kind of retire and just
Right.
be a shooter, just be a competitor.
Yeah.
And there's a decent sized USPSA club up there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some people that would go up there and shoot IDPA. We kind of joked calling it IDPA-ish, or IDPA light, because the stages didn't necessarily follow the rules, but they weren't official, right? So it was like
outlaw.
it was like
Yeah.
an outlaw
Yeah.
IDPA match. But they very rarely, by like once every 6 months, required concealment on any stages.
Oh, thank
But
God.
I told them when I was going to take over the club and run the club that I was going to make it an official IDPA club.
Then
and they were going to have to
now
follow the
you
rules.
have rules. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I did lose some guys that come to the match from time to time, but that's going to happen. And so anyway, that's why I'm an MD too. So I've been running that since January. And so that's me designing stages, that's me doing check-in, that's me making sure stages are getting built. I do have guys that design stages from time to time, and I try and comp their match if I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's that, and then Fred, who's our MD for this match for the Western, he kind of had an idea he was going to be MD towards the end of last year. I'm not sure the ins and outs of what happened, but he didn't get confirmation of that until like January.
Yeah.
And then it was like, hey, I need you to be an assistant match director. Like, would you be an assistant match director?
And that was a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So the quality of staffing that you got to this year, what's your overall take on that?
I mean,
You got a huge response, right?
yeah, you can never have enough. Okay. Even though I think we have 3 staff on every stage. There's 13 stages with a warm-up. The warm-up was on every bay, obviously, right? So I think we have at least 3 staff on every stage.
Right.
And then we have 2 or 3 Mr. Fix-Its, and then the 3 assistant match directors, and then the MD. And then we also have Ryan Harrigan, who's our former president of our club,
Right.
and then his son, who are doing scorekeeping, one on each of the halves of the range.
Which is a very important thing.
Yeah, and Ryan's a competitor, so he's doing it
Which I saw him today.
kind of as as staff and a competitor. He's
Right.
doing both.
Right.
So he's getting pulled kind of in a few different directions as well.
I noticed a lot of faces, and they're all different titles this year, and so you're just kind of plugging it away. But so how did you shoot this year?
I did okay.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I actually, driving in on Thursday to shoot, I had a client that booked me for my business outside of
Right.
shooting the month prior, and due to certain circumstances, we ended up having to reschedule, and it was the 3 days leading up to the Western. So
Wow.
I was able to do all the back end work that I needed, but unfortunately I couldn't come out on any of the build days
Yeah.
because I was working from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then going home and having to do even more work for my other clients.
Right.
Because we were filming a commercial for this client.
I got stuck at teaching, so I had to cover for another teacher. So that sucked.
Yeah. So I was basically working from 4 a.m. to about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Stopping for about a half an hour in the middle of the day to eat lunch if I could.
Yeah.
And then probably about an hour when I got home to have
on
dinner.
going. Yeah.
And then I just had, because there's stuff I just had to get done.
Absolutely.
So I was working on very little sleep. There wasn't enough. There isn't enough people in my class to bump, but I still want to do well.
Yeah.
So driving in, I was thinking to myself, I'd kind of written the match off. And I was gonna shoot. I was still gonna shoot, but I had kind of just come to the conclusion that whatever happens, happens, and that's the way it is, and then it didn't really matter.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So Thursday morning, which was the first day of staff, we had to finish building some stages, setting targets, things like that. And in my opinion, I think range 2, which was the first half of the match we all shot that day, I think was the harder half of the match.
Range 2. I would have to agree.
Yeah.
Distance, right?
Yeah. A lot of tight shots.
Yeah, Cowboy Town was a lot more relaxed, and they were faster.
Yeah.
and closer together, and but there were still some really tight turns.
Yeah, I actually made a comment yesterday and again today to a couple people that yesterday, Friday, which is when we shot Cowboy Town, kind of just felt like a club match. It was very relaxed.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There wasn't, obviously we did have one all-day shooter, actually Charlie from Gridley, that needed to be an all-day shooter for Thursday. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish just because we weren't able to get the track runner to work properly for him. So he wasn't able to finish, but he kind of was our debugger for the Cowboy Town.
Okay.
So Cowboy Town was mostly done when we went to start Friday.
Right.
But yeah, I'd kind of written the match off, and going into it, I think I did pretty good on the warm-up, if I'm remembering correctly. And if you've seen any of my videos, I do like kind of a stage breakdown.
Yes.
So I did a video for that, and then I haven't done a single one since.
So that's actually a new format that you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, I get lots of compliments on it.
I sat there. I go, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Right. So you talk about rules. You talk about strategies. I think that's phenomenal. You doing a lot more of that stuff nowadays, or?
I try to do it. I try to do in my main match videos, I try and do a stage breakdown of like, hey, the stage went great. You guys heard me say, like, if I'm shooting USPSA, you've heard me say a bunch where like, I got all alphas, and it's like, it's that IDPA mindset of getting your zeros, right? Which is what I train for, because IDPA is my main sport. But in USPSA, you can get away with what are called Charlies.
Yes.
By going faster.
Yeah.
So if I can still get my hits, but move me faster, then I need to do that. And it's like the repetitive theme in my USPSA videos.
Right.
But in IDPA, it's, I'm just trying to remember what I did well, what I could do better. And then I started a series called Let's Break It Down, which is where everything's IDPA focused. So I don't do anything with USPSA just yet. Because I'm not a RO, I don't know the rules all that well like I do IDPA.
Yeah.
I know the rules so that I can play the game and shoot a match, but as far as like all the little ins and outs like IDPA has, because I know that USPSA has it.
Yeah.
I just don't know it well enough, so I haven't started with USPSA on that, and I'll probably do a series down the road, but I'll call it something else.
Do you use USPSA as a tool for practicing to
Absolutely.
get better? Oh,
yeah.
And what benefits have you drawn from it?
So I'll just give you my spiel for new shooters that have never shot competition before. I try and get people to shoot IDPA before they shoot USPSA. And the reason for that is because I love IDPA, but USPSA is more fun to me.
Fun or less complications as far as rules are concerned?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
So more fun in general.
All right.
Right? The USPSA guys always say, oh, IDPA has so many rules. And it's actually wrong.
Yeah, USPSA actually has more.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's actually an advantage because their rulebook takes the ambiguity out of the interpretation.
Very, very specific. So,
yes.
So there's no interpretation.
Correct.
Yes,
It is what it is because they have a definition for everything. But the disadvantage in my eyes with USPSA is when you get a penalty, they penalize you. In IDPA, there's only one PE that you can get a procedural multiple of on a stage, and that's faulting the line because it's per position.
Yes.
If you have a target array, let's say you have a stage that has 9 targets, 18 rounds.
Like your standard.
Or any stage, mostly, right?
One position to cover, right?
Yeah.
But there was like 9 targets out there, right?
Yep. But let's say you have a gun malfunction, which does not constitute a reshoot,
right?
After firing, say, 2 shots, when it requires 3 on everything.
Yeah.
Now, you get the down 5s for however many hits on each target.
So you did the whole stage in 3 seconds.
Yep. And you get your down 5s,
all
right?
5s.
But you only get 1 procedural.
That's right.
Because you failed to engage a target.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's for the entire stage.
Yes.
In USPSA, and I don't want to get too off topic, but in USPSA, you get a failure to engage for each target plus the mics, right?
Yep.
And if it's a limited stage and you fire an extra shot, you get procedural for firing the extra shot, plus you get a procedural for the extra hit, and then they remove the extra hit.
Yeah.
So you get triple penalized.
So I sit there and I go, are you just making this stuff up?
Yeah, exactly. But back to your original point is that I use USPSA as a tool to make myself a better IDPA shooter. And that's what I tell people that haven't shot competition before, because I tell folks that in IDPA you cannot miss fast enough.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you can go fast, you can go look slicker than snot on a stage.
Yep.
And then if you're down 15 points on a 15-second stage, you just doubled your time.
So Austin Pruitt was one of his first things that he said. At his training.
Yeah.
He goes, my dad always told me that what I need to do was slow the hell down, because you can't go down 22 points on a stage. And I went, wait. You did that too?
Yeah. And
he goes, you can get like 22 seconds faster if you just go 0 down.
Yeah. And it might cost you 5 seconds to do that because you went 5 seconds slower on a stage.
I don't think people see that.
But you netted out 16 seconds faster.
But that's the discipline, right?
Yeah.
How do you throttle your trigger?
Yeah.
Right. So.
And that's part of my issue right now with irons and a short sight radius, is that I'm still trying to shoot at a red dot speed with a full-size gun.
Yep.
Now, I do treat my irons like a dot most of the time, unless it's at distance.
Oh, yeah.
So I use a red fiber front sight post, right? They're Dawson's.
Right.
And they always tell you with a red dot, you're target focused, right?
Yeah.
The dot should just be in your vision.
Yeah.
And then with iron sights, you should be front post focused.
Yeah. No.
That red dot of the red fiber is in my vision like a red dot.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just make sure it's in the notch, but I'm target focused.
As long as it's right there, right?
Yeah.
So we have two. I was looking at the Hellcat for the Springfield, one of your sponsors, right?
Yep.
Here at the Western. I was looking at the Hellcat. I looked down the sights and I went, oh my God. That thing was just like yelling at me.
Yeah.
Right? And that's hard not to miss.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, oh man, this would be nice.
Yeah.
CCP gun.
Especially if you get combat sights, that thing yells at you. It's like, hello, there's a big orange or yellow dot right there.
So, final topic was BP, competition shooting and reloading, right?
BP shooting and reloading.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're, this is your third year, right?
Yeah. I think I observed my first, I shot my very first IDPA match back in like 2012. I shot one match and that was it. Right. And that was down in like the Tracy area. Moved back up to this area for work reasons, and then observed my first match, I think at the end of, had to be December 21. So my first match was the SDPS classifier match in January of 22.
So your channel is actually growing.
Yeah.
It's blowing up.
I wouldn't say blowing up, but it's growing.
It's doing well.
It's steady. Yeah.
So you're constantly finding content and so forth, right? Going through this stuff.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So how do you think it's going? You any new things? I noticed that you're quite sponsored.
Yeah.
You have a lot of cool little giveaways.
Gadgets and giveaways. Yeah. So far, most of the giveaways are out of my own pocket.
Oh.
So the very first giveaway I did, I think, was for 500 subscribers. I bought and gave away a pair of the Axel in-ear.
I actually have a set.
Yeah.
So I got it. My ESPs were it got wet.
Oh.
And then I had to send it back, and that was the second time I sent it back, and now they're charging me quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
well, I spent quite a bit of money getting it. And then I came across one of my teammates actually had Axles.
Okay.
So I'm like, I should try those things for $100. You can't beat that.
Yeah. Anytime because they run sales all the time, right? It's buy one get one half off or whatever their sale is. I just reach out to my teammates and my friends that I shoot with. I'm like, hey, does anybody need a pair of Axles? Because I'm gonna buy 2 pairs and I'll sell you one for whatever the same price is. That I'll split it with you basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I paid for those out of my pocket. And funny enough, the MD of one of our USPSA clubs here, Arnold Chin, won those, which was kind of funny that the local guy won it. It was easy because I just handed it to him. I'm like, hey, you won.
Here you go. Hey, thanks.
And gave it to him, but so I didn't have to ship anything out. I did have some help on the last giveaway, which was the 1,000 subscriber. I've got a friend that works for a sales organization that represents a bunch of different gun 2A brands.
Right.
Springfield, it's he had Oakley at the time.
Yeah.
I think it was Surefire at the time, but I don't think I gave away a Surefire. I tried to get one, but the one I wanted was brand new and like hard to get.
Yeah.
But anyway, he helped me out. I bought some product from him directly, and then actually Springer Precision. I had reached out to a bunch of companies during that time looking for sponsors for me. And I apologize, I don't remember his name, but it's one of the Springer people that with Springer's their last name. I don't remember. I think it's one of the sons. We were emailing back and forth, and he says, unfortunately we're not looking for any sponsors right now, but I know, because in my email requesting sponsorship I had said I have a YouTube channel and I can help promote your products, blah blah blah. And he said, we're not looking for sponsored shooters right now, or to sponsor any shooters right now, but we'd love to help you with your channel with maybe a product review or something like that. And I said, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for 1,000 subscribers, and whatever you're willing to do would be amazing. And they pitched in huge.
Really?
Yeah, they gave me a $200 coupon code that I could use as a giveaway item.
That's
and
awesome.
On top of that, they actually sent me some base pads for me to use.
Look at you.
For me.
That is awesome.
Even without being a sponsored shooter. Yeah.
That is awesome. You have any advice to upcoming brand new safety officers and so forth that want to try to become MDs? And
yeah, I might have to think about that for a second.
did you even have fun becoming an AMD up until now? What are your thoughts?
So I've actually had a lot of fun, but there's also been a lot of frustration that's come along with it. But that's the gig when you take on responsibility.
Is it more reward than the pain, or is more pain than the reward?
So to my own detriment, I love to be involved in things.
And boy, are you
whether that, yeah, but even outside of shooting, like I kind of stick my nose in other people's business probably when I shouldn't. But I like to be involved because I like to help.
Good for you.
Even with my work dealing with on film sets and stuff like that, it's kind of weird for me because each department has their role. And sometimes there's sitting involved when other people are working, and I have a real hard time with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because if on bigger productions, I do sound. So
Right.
I'm the guy either on the mixer or holding the boom. And, the lighting guys bust their ass. And they are working and moving all the time. And I always ask them, hey, can I help you? And they say, I would love it, but no.
That's a fine-tuning thing.
Well, and some of it's because it's union work, right? They're union guys, so like I'm not allowed to touch their equipment.
Oh, I see.
The other side of it too is like somebody may come and set like what's called a sandbag, which is a weight for a stand.
Yep.
They may come set it over here, and when they come back to get it, they know they set it there. Well, if I grab it and move it somewhere, now it's not there. They're like, "What the hell is my sandbag?"
My wife does that to me all the time.
Yeah, I live with my parents, and they do that to me all the time.
You're like,
I know I put this in here, but I don't know where it is.
Can you tell me where you put it? And she goes, oh, yeah. And she knows exactly where it is, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, do you do the thing where you open the fridge looking for the ketchup and the ketchup's staring you in the face? Honey, I can't find the ketchup, and it's right there. Do you do that?
Oh. Very often.
Okay. So fair play.
So, you recommend people for safety officers to keep on moving?
Yeah, I mean, IDPA is an aging it's an aging sport, and what I mean by that is that there's gonna be a big fall off at some point because the people that generally shoot IDPA are older. And my club specifically, I would say probably in the next 5 years we're gonna lose like 30% of the people that shoot.
That's significant.
Just because of people aging out.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it becomes a physical ability thing where they can't do it, or safety or health related reasons, or they're just tired and don't want to do it anymore. But we need more people to be safety officers.
Yeah.
I will tell you that becoming a safety officer made me a better shooter.
And it made me as well. I do it for the community.
Yeah.
And I see that you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But if we don't build build the community, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to fall off. And
Yeah. The big thing specifically to making me a better shooter is that knowing the rules allows me to know how to bend them.
You know, I sit there and a lot of people ask me, why are you a safety officer? Why are you so rules hungry? It's specifically for that.
Yeah.
I need to keep up with the fast guys.
Well, and it's knowing what you can and can't do.
There you go.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what we were talking about earlier with engaging targets and stuff, if that rule changes and you can now do an activator and that activated target isn't available yet, but I can come in and shoot this static target.
Yeah.
That's faster than waiting for that other target.
Because that's one less target you have to worry about.
Yeah, and if I know, and if it's in the rules that I can do that, which it's not currently, then I could save 2 seconds on that stage,
right.
second and a half, right?
That's right.
And sometimes these matches are determined by tenths of a second.
That's right. So I always say it's not gaming, right?
Yeah.
But it's knowing your advantages.
Yeah.
So, but
and it's playing to your strengths, right?
There you go.
If I can't do it, I'm not going to do it.
That's right.
If I think I can do it and I can do it, I'm absolutely going to do it.
Well, there you go. That's your assistant match director for the 2025 Western Championships, IDPA Championships here in Sacramento, California. I am having a blast here. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us and so forth. I highly suggest you guys take a look at his channel, and it's this right here. But you're going to see a lot of him shooting, moving up the rankings and so forth. You're all growing up now.
Yeah.
3 years. Holy cow. Look at you. Congratulations.
Yeah. Plan to keep going for a while.
A special shout out to our channel membership. This is your support. Busy at work. Please consider being a part of our shooting community, building relationships around safe gun practice and IDPA competition. My name is Paul G, and this is
Bryan Phares.
There you go. Please be safe, and we shall see you on the range.
Like, share, subscribe.